Thank you so much. So thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to present to you today. By way of introduction, my name is Jody Aufrichtig, and I'm the founder and the executive chairman of Psyence. We work in psychedelic medicine, and we're listed on the CSE. So I was asked to talk to you today about our company, about what we are doing in psychedelics at Psyence. But I was walking on the beach this morning reflecting on the talk, and I thought I'd start off by telling you a little bit about why I'm doing this work and why I believe we need to radically change the way we think about the future, and we need to radically change the way we think about mental health and curing mental health. We need to think and act on impact projects, and we need to make a difference. And listening to some of the talks earlier today, you've heard from many some from many great companies, and they're going to do very well. But I do believe we can, and we will create shareholder value and returns. And that is very important. But we can also do that by making a positive and a big impact on humanity. And those two concepts can work together. So I've got about 28 minutes. I'll first give you a 1-minute brief on my background and why I'm involved in developing psychedelic medicine, and then we can jump straight into Psyence. So I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and now working in psychedelics, ex-Ernst & Young. And historically, for the last 30 years, I've been involved in building up and starting, 19 businesses, from property development, healthcare, hospitality, aviation, online businesses. And I guess more relevant in one way is 4 years ago, I sold my medical cannabis operation to Canopy Growth, at the time the largest cannabis operation in the world, dual listed in Canada and in the States. And I ran the African operation as managing director for 2 years. I've put all of that one side, and I'm focusing full-time on psychedelics. So Psyence, specifically jumping into Psyence, I started the company 2.5 years ago, and I started that when I received a commercial medical psilocybin cultivation license. And at the time, and still is one of the world's first, and is currently the world's first and only certified facility in the world. Initially founded the company with $1 million of my own funds, and I'm a big believer in starting businesses. Put your own money in, that is important. And one of the questions I'm very often asked is, why Psyence? Why have I gone from private equity into this particular sector? And that answer is important, but it's a very simple answer. Firstly, it's a global business with global growth opportunities. And of course, one today must work in a global business. But equally importantly, psychedelics is a sector which has a tremendous amount of positive public sentiment and support. And that wave is important to have that wave behind you. Of course, it's a very high growth sector. And when we launch our proprietary drug, which is called psilocybin, we'll be entering a sector with a global market in excess of 20 billion. And equally important, it's a sector that makes a positive impact on humanity, and that is in addressing mental health. And no doubt mental health is the new pandemic. COVID has come and gone, is back again, but mental health is a very important pandemic that we can tackle. And essentially, that's why I'm working in, and that is what we have built with Psyence. So jumping straight in. All right. Psyence is a life sciences biotech company, and we use natural psychedelics for mental health and well-being. We focus on psychedelic mushrooms and the active compounds, and there's many compounds found in those mushrooms, and we're developing drugs with these compounds. So this is really what we call the helicopter view of the business. And the first point to note is this is not cannabis, this is not medical cannabis, and this is not a recreational play. It's a medical biotech drug development opportunity. We're looking at very powerful and very effective natural molecules that help with mental health. So in Psyence, we've got 3 distinct divisions. We've got a production facility, therapeutics, and function. Our production facility is our commercially licensed operation in Southern Africa that is certified, and that's currently at a 24-hour cycle, full-scale production. I guess one of the big value players in Psyence is our Therapeutics Division, and within this division lives our clinical trial and our API, our active pharmaceutical development. We also have an over-the-counter range called Psyence Function. I'll tell you a little bit more about these in a moment. I guess there's not a day that passes by where I don't open up some publication or read some article about psychedelics. Very, very topical at the moment, and very topical because it's a big market disruptor, and there's not many sectors that are in market disruptors in the current climate. Forecasted sales in the billions. So we've certainly seen out of our production facility on a daily basis increased demand for certified product. Right, as we all know, a business is driven by people, and as a new sector, we need very strong business skills, but equally important in this sector is we need very strong drug development and pharmaceutical experience, and that we have at Psyence. So it's important to understand the philosophies of our people, the way we think, and the way we run our business. Dr. Neil Moreski is our CEO. He's ex-AstraZeneca. And in fact, last week I was asked what is the hardest part in running this business and starting Psyence. And very simply, it was in getting experienced drug development and pharmaceutical experienced persons like Neil to lead the company. That's a big step, and that step took a lot of time. As we're a listed company, we also need a very strong capital markets team, and we have that with Warwick, Alan, Zan, Taryn, Dr. Clive Wardable, Tony also on the team. I guess just before I sum up on the people, as a company, one of our philosophies is we must operate with the utmost ethics and principles. In new sectors, you often find gray areas. In our view, if it's gray, stay away. It must be 100% green. It must be always 100% above board. And we like to operate and embrace a legislated framework. And I think this is very important as we develop a nascent industry in psychedelic medicines. This foundation is of critical importance. We listed approximately 2 years ago, a lot of milestones since listing the company. Our facility is built, it's federally licensed, it's certified by the British Standards Institute, it's operational. We've launched a functional mushroom range. We have imported genetics, grown and cultivated and perfected those genetics, and we're now about to start clinical trials. All right, so as I mentioned, the clinical trials live in our Therapeutics Division. And this has got two distinct parts to our business. The first part is a clinical trial to develop a proprietary natural psilocybin drug. Our drug is called psilocybin, and this focuses on adjustment disorder in palliative care. This is the anxiety and stress and depression with a terminal diagnosis. We waited some time after starting the company to decide what indication to target, and we decided to focus on palliative care. I believe it's going to be very hard for regulators to turn down a patient at end of life when we've shown a drug has efficacy, and we might see some accelerated pathways in palliative care. Of course, it's a massive market size, forecast to be a $28 billion market, and we expect to have a product in market by 2027, a licensed product with IP protection. The second part to Psyence Therapeutics is our psilocybin API development, our active pharmaceutical ingredient. So our product, the raw material is manufactured in Southern Africa, it's certified, it's extracted, and that goes to our partners in the United Kingdom, very, very strong partners in the UK, and a pharmaceutical grade API comes out of the other side, and this API can and will be used in time for follow-on indications, and we've got some exciting news around that, and of course to generate royalties and revenue. Yeah, palliative care forecast compound annual growth rate just under 10%, $28 billion market, and that market can be 3 times larger if one looks at other palliative care indications. Large addressable market. With psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, between a 1 and a 10% market share, we expect and can forecast turnover at launch between 150 and 1.5 billion. Big differences, but time will tell, but certainly a very large market. Right, there are other companies in this sector, and we embrace other companies. We think it's very important to work together as we build this sector. We are one of the only companies that is working in natural molecules. But we believe it's very important to have regulated and credible medical focused companies assisting to build up a nascent industry. But as you can see on the slide, there are very few companies in phase 2B trials, and we're certainly the only company in the world developing a drug for adjustment disorder with natural psychedelics. We have a clinical trial approved in the United Kingdom, so that was quite exciting news in the company. And in Q2 of this year, we will be starting a phase 2B study in Australia. That's with 75 patients, a placebo-controlled with dose finding. That's about to kick off in the next couple of months. And that will enable us to pivot straight into a phase 3 study to be on target to launch a drug in 2027. All right, this really just summarizes our clinical trial pathway. So again, just to emphasize, we focus on naturally derived products. And for our first clinical trial, we're not using a product from our own facility, even though we are vertically integrated, because we partnered with Filament Health. Filament Health, based in the North Americas, they've licensed IP to us. They had a drug master file, and that really enabled us to accelerate our drug development program. So we have exclusivity for our indication in the USA, the EU, and the UK, and that product has 9 patents granted, and those patents will give us a 20-year life on rolling out our product before generics kick in. So we believe that by working in Australia, we'll also see an accelerated drug development pathway to the USA, which is, of course, the big market. The slide is key in biotech. Our intellectual property protection is absolutely critical, and it's something I look at twice a day, 3 times a day, every day. So by licensing the exclusivity for Filament Health's PEX10 product, we've got a 20-year protection. And another important point to note is we don't believe you'll be given this medication and told to go home and take a drug. These are powerful molecules. We believe that it will be psychedelic-assisted therapy together with the drug, and those will be taken together. So we're developing our own PAPM, psychedelic-assisted therapy module, and of course, we'll patent protect that. You do get data and marketing exclusivity if you are the first indication with the molecule, and the FDA grants 5 years and the EU 10 years. So we're very comfortable with the intellectual property protection around our products. There's a lot of debate on the benefits of natural psilocybin versus synthetics. But what we do know is that our patients, and we're looking at cancer patients, have already had their bodies pumped and filled with chemicals. And we believe when given a choice, we will see a strong movement to natural substances. We've seen that already in many sectors, including the cannabis sector. Of course, there's been a lot of talk, and we are also studying the entourage effect. And there is certainly initial evidence coming through that other alkaloids have a synergistic positive patient outcome. So we do believe there's an entourage effect with natural substances, and we'll prove that in time. All right, as I mentioned, we are vertically integrated. We have a production facility. This production facility operates in the Kingdom of Lesotho, a magnificent country, a member of the Commonwealth, completely surrounded by South Africa, but an independent country. But most importantly, Lesotho is a member of the 1961 Single Drug Convention Act, the Psychotropic Act, in full compliance with the INCB, International Narcotics and Control Board. Really what this all means is you can move scheduled substances around the world because the country is in full compliance. And Lesotho is the country that we chose to build our facility in. I have a video on the facility. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long. I'd like to show you the video. If the moderator tells me it's not streaming nicely, we'll move straight on. Do we have volume? Can one of the moderators let me know?
We currently don't have sound coming out of it, but it is not lagging. It's good enough to watch.
So I'm told we didn't have some volume. So what I'm going to do is just reshare, because I think it would be really good to share the sound on this. So please bear with me 1 sec. All right. All right. The moderator could let me know now if the volume is working.
We do have sound. It's all good.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I am Makarabo Lucy Pafudi, but to my friends and colleagues, I am Lucy. As a kid, I always loved school. It was my special place. From an early age, I always wanted to help my mom, help others in whatever way I could. Fast forward to today, I'm the quality assurance technician for Psyence production. I'm the gatekeeper ensuring that all our cultivation and production strictly adheres to our ISO 22000:2018 food safety management system. My dream, as that of a little girl, is no longer a dream, but a reality. I now find myself being in a blessed position of being a helper rather than being the helped.
Like Lucy, we at Psyence are a team of passionate and empathetic individuals, united in the common cause of unearthing a natural solution which eases mental health disorders while in the same breath amplifies quality of life. The Psyence Group is dedicated to the acceleration of scientific research, development, and the rollout of psilocybin therapy to reduce human suffering and increase mental health well-being. The next era of mental health therapeutics has transcended, and we at Psyence are at the forefront of the next medical revolution of treating root causes with possible long-term natural healing solutions. Welcome to Psyence Production, Africa, regarded as the cradle of humankind, the birthplace of humans, and it was none other than pure serendipity which witnessed the emergence and evolutions of the Psyence Group we know today. Our Psyence production facility is a federally licensed operation based in the Kingdom of Lesotho, gate-kept by the mighty Maluti mountain ranges and supported by progressive government regulations. This utopian environment allows us to discover, identify, grow and test psilocybin mushrooms that will ultimately feed into clinical and research requirements globally. In the last 20 months of activation, Psyence production has made incredible leaps and bounds in the identification and commercial cultivation of potent psilocybin strains. Lucy and her Lesotho team of specialists have mapped out and implemented a viable, low-cost commercial cultivation model that is not only disruptive to the current supply chain, but is also scalable. Our Psyence production facility is purpose-designed and currently houses culture making, spawning, fruiting, drying, and final pack chambers. Each of these processes are done and overseen by our own Psyence industry experts. With a production cycle that runs 24/7, our facility ensures a constant daily supply of psilocybin ready for export. Our newly acquired testing laboratory enables us to do rapid in-house testing using an HPLC, allowing constant and vigorous vetting of our products during the various stages. Psyence production is now in the position to provide the global research and pharmaceutical industries with high-grade, low-cost psilocybin verified by the FDA and certified by the British Standards Institute. The ethos of our Psyence brand is perfectly reverberated by the ancient Basotho proverb, Kiteng Hubani Liteng, which means, I am because we are. As Psyence, let us move forward together. Let us embrace the human spirit of a collective and compassionate action, which ultimately leads us to a better, happier destination. And in the well wishes of the Basotho people, Kotso, Pula, Nala. Let there be peace, let there be rain, and let there be prosperity.
Right, I'm delighted I could share that video with you. There's nothing like seeing the actual action on the ground. There's just a picture of our operation and facility. Just a few more pictures. I built the facility in a modular format, so we can expand it, but of course, we have no intention of building the new shiny toy. We'll expand. Economics 101. As demand increases, we'll up our supply. We got to balance that. You don't want to get those out of synchronization. It'll affect cash flow, but it has been designed to be modular for expansion. We're a couple of years in now, so we've managed to shorten our cultivation and harvest process down from 68 days to 44 days, and there's some pictures of the process, and that each day we shorten it makes a big difference. And of course, we've managed to increase the potency of our strains over the last 2 years, which means more active molecule. Currently, the Lesotho provides whole mushroom extract, crude extract, and very shortly we'll be providing standardized and stabilized isolates. In that regard, we have partnered with what we believe is the world's top extractors, Eden Labs and Cody Futurin, and together with that partnership, we will very shortly in the next few months provide a suite of additional products to international customers. Of course, as many people know, the mushrooms degrade quite rapidly, so you need fairly sophisticated equipment to standardize and stabilize and flush them with nitrogen to ensure no oxidation and degradation of product. We have that all on site. All right, an opportunistic investment we made in Psyence was a Psyence function. We've got two products that have just launched in store and just launched in South Africa and in the United Kingdom. And these are non-psychedelic functional mushrooms. So these particular products, we source the raw ingredients from GMP facilities in Germany, and we formulate and encapsulate in South Africa, and we sell to the international market. These are over-the-counter products. They're called Good Mind, and we launched it with a partner company. We own 50% of this particular joint venture, and initial indications are showing that this will be a very good and exciting revenue stream. I wanted some revenue in the interim because it takes time to develop a drug, and there's nothing more motivating than banking revenue in a business. So we are a global company. Our head office is based in Cape Town and in Canada, in Toronto, and we've got operations in the United Kingdom, Australia, and of course, Lesotho. As a business, and I've alluded to it earlier, it's very important that we uplift, enrich, and empower the communities around us. It helps build a better business. So we've got a number of CSI initiatives that we operate and will continue to operate. All right, from a cap table perspective, we are going to be raising funds shortly. Of that fundraise, 75% will be used in Psyence Therapeutics, our drug development program, and a small amount in our production facility and to expand function. To date, as a listed company, we've had only one bit of research done on us, and that was by Hannam & Partners. They forecast a 450% increase in our share price in the next 18 months. But I personally believe as we execute on that phase 2B trials, we need to watch that space a lot closer. Right, looking ahead as a company, some news that you're going to be seeing. You'll see the commencement of our clinical trials in palliative care, our phase 2B trials, pivoting straight onto our phase 3 trials. There'll be news about the commencement. In fact, we've commenced already our active pharmaceutical, our API development in the United Kingdom. We have already commenced rolling out products in the UK, and we'll start seeing some initial revenue coming through from that initial numbers probably in a month or so. We're going to be expanding our production facility in our laboratory, and some exciting news that some of our shareholders have recently read about is we've signed a business combination agreement, and we're looking at the NASDAQ. We're looking at moving the company from the CSE onto the NASDAQ, so that'll be quite exciting. And then, of course, in summary, we will have a drug developed by 2027. This drug will be patent protected in a $20 billion market, and we believe we will be the first to market. So some very exciting times ahead, and we're looking forward to the next few years as we build this business together. So yeah, any questions, please feel free to ask. These are my details. If anyone does wish to drop me a line or would like to know a little bit more, Jody at psyence.com. We're listed on the CSE under the ticker PSYG. Thank you.
Thank you for the great presentation and the great video, Jody. So we have a lot of people in the chat currently. I cannot believe that no one has a question to you yet. Or we only have investors that are very knowledgeable in that sphere, and then in that case, it's very great for you. I will maybe go with some questions. Jody, what are the current revenues and what are you projecting for the next 3 years?
Look, we biotech drug development, so we're only expecting revenue to kick in 2027 on our drug development. We know the market size, and we can only forecast. Look, if we forecast a 1% market share, we're looking at $150 million. Or bear in mind, we'll be the only drug in the market in this particular sector by 2027. If we get a 10% market share, you're looking north at $1.5 billion. So time will tell what those revenues will be, and we'll have initial numbers which we'll release on our over-the-counter products in about 2 months' time. So it's early days, but initial indications looking good.
Okay, perfect. And let's go back on your over-the-counter product that you discussed. So right now, if we go into the United Kingdom, you tell us it's available there. How many point of sale do you have now? What kind of distribution agreement do you have, and so on?
All right, so we've just launched the product in the United Kingdom. Just take a step back. In South Africa, we're in about 550 stores. We've launched a month ago in 550 stores in South Africa. In the United Kingdom, we've launched with Amazon, but we've actually signed a distribution agreement with a company called This Works. This Works is a wholly owned subsidiary of Canopy Growth, and it's the first time in their history they've taken an external product on board. So Amazon in everyone's lounge in the United Kingdom. What's the population?
Absolutely.
62 million distribution outlets.
And what does this product, what are the benefits of this product that's over the counter?
So again, just to take a step back, our core business is psychedelics, but this was an opportunistic investment. It's 2% of our business. But these are a combination of functional mushrooms that help with mental health, with well-being, they're energizing. We have not done clinical trials on our product, but each raw ingredient that fits into our product has got clinical trials in its own right. And we've seen those trials have shown to have efficacy for anxiety, for sleep, depression. So we believe the combination of these functional mushrooms will be very effective in calming the state of mind.
And there's a lot of talk from people in the psychedelic sector to actually fight more for the palliative care, actually to increase the end life of people, quality of life during those last moments. What is the situation in this particular niche and competitors, or how are you even looking at this sector specifically?
Yeah, I mean, we're focusing on palliative care. We think people have a choice to live better, maybe not longer. Currently, at end of life, 2/3 of patients are sedated and they're on benzodiazepines and morphine. We don't want to critique that, but it's a tough quality of life. Yep. When your morphine dose gets upped every day and you're living in half the world dies in a state of fear, anxiety, and depression. And initial indications show that with psilocybin, with psychedelic therapy, that we can significantly alleviate that. And the second reason why we chose palliative care is regulators must give patients at end of life a choice. It's a basic human right.
Well, in Canada, obviously, regulations are very advanced on end of life. So we see that in the choice actually of end of life. And obviously, anything that can help. If anyone had families that went through those moments, and we surely almost all have, it's a difficult thing to see and to live through. So Jody, I think that was very good closing comments. This is already 3:30. We have to let you go on that, but very interesting. You already shared your email. You already shared your website. So I invite anyone who wants to know more about the company to reach directly Jody. He's going to be happy to answer your emails. Jody, thank you very much for being part of the IIF.
Thank you.